Hi, my name is Reverend Kent Lewis, and I'm the campus minister here at Kentucky Wesleyan College. On October the 13th through the 16th, 2015, our campus ministries took a group of students to Henderson Settlement, located in eastern Kentucky, for a fall break mission/leadership trip. This trip was made possible by a grant from the Carson-Myre Foundation. So over the next few minutes, you're going to hear from members of our group who attended the trip. You're going to hear about their experiences, what they learned. So sit back and relax. God is doing some cool things through these students at Kentucky Wesleyan.
So I saw the email that you all had sent out, and something just immediately hit me and said, you need to do this, you need to go on this trip. I've been on a few mission trips, but none overnight, far away, so I thought it would be a good experience.
Well, I had never been on a mission trip before, and so I thought, one being offered, might as well.
I just felt like I should. I had been praying about it for a while, and I felt like it was the right thing for me to do.
We decided to take our group to Henderson Settlement. It's a ministry of the Redbird Missionary Conference of the United Methodist Church. Henderson Settlement is located in Frakes, Kentucky. Frakes is in Bell County, which is in the southeastern part of the state. The reason why we went to Henderson Settlement is because it is a ministry of the Redbird Conference, and the Kentucky Conference and the Redbird Conference have a special relationship. We share a bishop. Some of our pastors we share back and forth with one another. It's located in our geographical state, and so it only made sense to take our students on a mission experience to Henderson Settlement.
It seems to me there were three goals that we had on this trip. One was the task part, which was missional, and Henderson Settlement was very able to plug us into the projects they had. So it was a place where mission was very easy to do, and we knew what we were doing and who that was going to help.
Well, we got to do a lot of things, mainly just help out with the community.
So we picked apples, peeled apples, because they were making apple butter that they sell to the people in the community and on the settlement.
We got to go and chop some wood and just try to help around the community. Small things, but in their eyes, it's a big thing.
I helped split wood, which I had never done before, and that goes to people in the community that need it for the winter. We had a big pile of wood at the beginning that needed to be chopped, and by the end it was all done. So it was really cool to see the transition of where it was the beginning and our impact at the end.
We helped dig some post holes to build a fence for a cow pasture.
So Nathaniel,
Yeah,
what are you doing there, bud?
digging a hole,
All right.
Okay,
a post hole.
we're putting those 6
For a
inch
post?
in like that, so we're going, it's all you want.
Post hole. That's all good.
We just got to experience the people there, and it was an awesome experience.
The added dimension with that, of course, is the relational. There's the task, and then there's the relational. And we just enjoyed being together and getting to know one another. The task didn't overshadow that so much that we ended the trip not knowing something about each other. So that kind of a dynamic where you're doing something together and enjoy it and know one another as you're doing it was a key part of our experience.
I've led 11 mission trips as my time here as campus minister at Kentucky Wesleyan, and no two mission trips are alike. Even if you go to a place 2 or 3 times, the trips are never, ever alike. And that's the same way with a group dynamic. Some trips, the majority of the group already know one another. Maybe they've gone on multiple trips with one another. And at other times, it's not the case. Many of the students don't know one another. So on the last couple trips that we've taken, it's been the case where most of the students don't know one another before we go. But it's always cool to watch that group dynamic and to watch them come together.
Some of our students on the trip already knew each other, and other ones didn't.
The group of people that we went together, we weren't all really friends at first.
I really didn't know a whole lot of people.
And so it was different how they were able to get to know someone they didn't know at all.
I became closer with the faculty that went as well as the students that went, which was very beneficial.
Like, I did not know, but Liz and Emma and Billy that went, and then at the end, like, I know every one of you guys, and like me and Rachel have been kind of really close.
I got to meet a lot more people that are involved with Campus Ministries.
Like, we got to go and play basketball at night, and I think you get really close with people whenever you're sweating with it.
Oh. Uh-oh. Oh. Oh, he's making a play for Emma. He's trying to get it to Emma.
Since I've been back, I've actually had quite a few interactions with them. You know, we have become more of friends than we were beforehand, and so that was nice.
By the end of the trip, we were all really inseparable, and anytime we see each other on campus, we talk to each other, and some of us hang out, so it's really refreshing to see the type of people that God puts in your life for a reason.
When we returned from the trip, there were friendships that had been established that you could tell that they were now spending some time together. There was a football game the weekend after we returned, and some that I looked up as I looked up in the stands, some of our students who had just been together for a few days already were sitting together at the football game. So I think when the initial experience is over, that it's not really over. There's a ripple effect, and relationships have been established, and people are now enjoying the presence of that other person that before they may have only seen briefly as they passed them on the sidewalk on campus.
Well, our group consisted of different people throughout the school that just came together and helped each other and the settlement out. And it was really fun and a good experience, and we got to share Christ with each other. And for the first time that we met, I felt like we had that chemistry, and throughout the entire trip, it was really fun. The third area was the leadership dimension, and we didn't want this to be like class. We didn't want it to be an academic experience. And so we put this component in, I think in a balanced sort of way, where we talked about the importance of leadership at this point in the students' lives.
Our vision at Kentucky Wesleyan College Campus Ministries is to build Christian community that develops and equips leaders that can build Christian community. So we didn't have a choice. Leadership was going to be a big part of this trip.
We very much shared with them our desire as Kentucky Wesleyan to provide a leadership dimension to their experience. And this is true no matter where life leads them. They're going to have opportunities to be good followers, but they're also going to have opportunities to step into that role of asking others to come together and do particular tasks. And so to leave your Kentucky Wesleyan experience at some point and have that background, especially with the emphasis of faith, that you are living out your faith as you lead others, was good to be able to express, get into, talk about in conversation.
I learned how to be more of a leader. It was just more of taking an initiative to say, okay, well, I'll do this, and then people will follow your example, and it's a better way to learn how to be a leader, a successful one, and not one that's just like sitting behind the scenes, bossing everybody around and then taking the credit for it. It's actually doing on hands-on work.
Well, I'm so glad we invited Alice Hammond to come on the trip with us. She's a chalk artist, and she shared in both in word and in art, and really brought a dynamic to our time together that would have been missing. And so we were blessed by her talent and by her presence. One of our ministries at Wesleyan Heights United Methodist Church is crocheting prayer shawls for those that are visited in the hospitals or in other settings that are really having a difficult time and trying to pray through that time. And the prayer shawl is a tangible way of having something to hold or something to put around the shoulders that brings you into prayer. So we took 20 of these on the trip, and our students took these into their hands, and we had a prayer over these that lives would be touched by holding these, putting these in the laps, and whatever, in whatever way that someone really connected through these in prayer to God. So after we prayed over these prayer shawls, we left them at Henderson Settlement, where they would be taken to various locations of people who were receiving assistance. So part of the mystery was wondering whose hands they would fall into and what those needs would be and how that shawl would help them to pray.
On every mission trip you take, everyone's going to take something from the trip, something that they've learned that they take home with them.
I really learned that about myself, that I love helping people, and this is like something that God's always told me that I needed to do.
I also got to learn about the area. I had never been to Appalachia before. I grew up outside Kentucky. I didn't know exactly what it was.
Beauty of His creation, where we were in eastern Kentucky, it was really powerful, refreshing to be able to actually take in the beauty that God's created and really meditate and look back on all that, and it's just really refreshing. I got closer to God as well, which was, you could feel God in the community as well as on the settlement and within the people that went on the trip with me. I saw Him everywhere, but anytime we would all sit down and pray and eat together, it was really like comforting not having our cell phones that worked necessarily a signal where you could sit down and actually interact and not text other people from home and worry about people back there, because you need to be active in the world around you.
Well, I could feel that God was working throughout the trip. From the first moment I stepped on, I said, this is right for me. I should be here right now. And throughout the trip, it just got more and more. And at the end, I just felt God's presence was there, and He helped us out a lot through the trip. And my faith has grown just a little bit more since I've been on that trip.
God really has a way of working through you and other people, so I think that's like what we're all called to do, is be God's love, be God's hands. At first I was kind of skeptical as to whether I wanted to go or not, because I didn't really know anybody that was going, but I felt like God was calling me to go, and if somebody feels that way, then I believe that they should take upon that, because God did have a plan and He sent me on that mission trip for a reason.
I would say do it. I would say no matter what, even if your schedule's tight, even if you have other plans, if you have the opportunity to go on this, you should, because it'll change the way you think on a lot of things, especially your faith.
Like going into the mission trip, I was having a lot of trouble in personal life with like self-value and all that, and like going on the mission trip really changed a lot for me. Like all the people there, I felt really appreciated. I felt like they actually wanted to be around me, and one day making these, I was up on a hill fixing the school bus we took, and like that was really big for me. Like for me, that's just like a normal everyday thing. Like my dad taught me all that. Like they came to me and asked me to help them with the bus, and like for me that's nothing out of the norm, but to them it was extremely important that they needed to have that fixed, and I was the one that was there to be able to do it. And like all the people there, I spent a lot of time with Liz. Like it really like reminded me who I am, son of God. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It helped me out a lot, and I probably would not have made it through the rest of the semester without that. So
I was on the fence for this one, and it was a time in my life. I mean, it was fantastic. I want to go on all of them that we have now, and so I would say absolutely just reach out and go. I mean, but if you do like it, then you have opened yourself a whole new world to explore and really find yourself.
We are very grateful to the Carson-Myre Foundation for supplying us the resources to go on this trip. Their goals, we believe, were very much in line with what our trip was able to accomplish. And so we're thankful for their generosity, and our students were also very aware of that gift, and that gift was making this possible.